Hey everyone, welcome back to Life is Love School. Today's topic is a little bit more freeform, which is I'm going to share the three mindsets that I think are absolutely crucial if you want to heal from childhood trauma, parental abuse, etc. It actually largely draws from my own experience. And in fact, I really wish that I knew these things in my younger days because it would have saved me a lot of pain and it would have accelerated my healing journey. So I hope you find today's content helpful. Hey everyone, my name is Yumei Chang and you are on Life is Love School, where we teach childhood trauma survivors essential skills to live a happier and healthier life. If you are not yet a subscriber, make sure to hit some buttons, like and subscribe so that you don't miss any new episodes. So let's get to it. So what is the mindset that will accelerate your healing? For me, the most important is to understand that you have to be your own hero. When we're children, we are very used to relying on our parents to do things for us. And that's for good reasons. We're not independent. We can't earn money. We can't provide our own shelter. We can't get food. We can't drive. A lot of things we can't do because we were little. So we rely on our parents. The problem, though, is if you have toxic parents, the people that you're trying to get nurture from are actually often the ones that are inflicting pain on you. So that causes all sorts of attachment issues. But what also happens is that you never really individuate. That part of you that is hoping that your parents would somehow take care of you is always there. So even though you're a fully grown adult from a biological perspective and from an age perspective, there's a part of you that is hoping that your parents can fix your PTSD or fix your depression and anxiety that is largely actually caused by a lot of the abuse that you suffered growing up. But one thing I recognize is how folly that line of thinking is. If a person is so damaged that they could actually do things to harm their own children, what kind of capacity do you think they have to take care of you? They could barely take care of themselves. You have to be truly damaged to want to hurt your own children, right? Just think about people who abuse animals. That is a really immature, or I would say probably mentally ill person, to then expect that they will somehow have the capacity to not just take care of themselves, not just have the awareness, not just seek therapy, but somehow have that extra ability to help you. That is just not going to happen. So if you're waiting for them to get better, you have to be prepared to wait for a very long time, and it might just never ever happen. I'm not trying to chastise you for thinking this way, because I thought about it this way for a long time, and I disguised it in a sense of, hey, it's only fair because they did certain harm to me. It's only fair that they should pay for their crimes, that they should apologize and they should make it right, etc. But this world is not about fairness, and you can't always ask the person that harmed you for fairness. So I'll just give you an analogy. Let's say that you're walking along the streets, do your own business, and you run into this rabid dog, and the dog bit you. All right, now you might get rabies, so what you need to do is immediately go to hospital, get seen, and also call animal control so somebody can pull this dog off the street so they don't harm other people. Do you need to hate the dog? I would say no, right? Because a dog cannot do any better. And unfortunately, I think to a large extent, which I'll cover in point 2, is that our toxic parents also do a lot of the harmful things because they either have bad genes or they have bad nurture, etc., or a lot of the gene and environmental interplay that cause them to behave the way they do. So all of us have the responsibility to raise our inner child. Just because you might not have real children, you might choose to not have children, it doesn't mean that you don't have a child to raise. All of us are responsible for raising our inner child. So it may feel very unfair that you did not cause the harm to yourself, yet you are responsible for healing. You are responsible for going to therapy. You are responsible for meditating and exercising and doing all the things to give your body the best chance to heal. So point number 2 is about letting go. Some people like to use the phrase forgive, but I think forgiveness can be triggering for a lot of people, as that phrase, some people would consider it quite laden with, oh, I forgave this person, I invite them back to my life, I give them a second chance. Whereas I like to use the word letting go, because letting go simply means I take a huge scissor and I cut the emotional ties. This could be, I forgive the rabid dog for biting me, right? Because this dog is out of its mind, it's sick, it can't help but. Yet I also don't have to invite the dog to my house and let it bite me again. I take a big scissor and I cut that emotional tie. The same goes with anyone who's abused you. If you are still harboring resentment, hatred, anger towards that person, it's only damaging your body. And all these emotions, these unpleasant emotions, if you don't process through it and letting it go, it will eat your body and it will cause all sorts of health issues in the long run. So for your own sake, cut the cord. Cut the cord so you could be free. Cut the cord because it's simply too heavy to drag it on. And I want to talk about the point about genetics, epigenetics, and gene-environmental interactions. So the more scientists understand genes and how it impacts everything, the less people tend to believe there's much, if any, free will. So this sounds very controversial, but hear me out. So of course we understand genes determine a lot of things, right? From height to IQ to eye color, etc. A lot of it is gene driven. But environment also plays a part. So whether we were raised by healthy parents or unhealthy parents, I think we all have firsthand experience with that. And then there's something called the gene environment interaction, which is, let's say that I happen to be a child who is very curious about science, then I would tend to go to environments or find friends or seek out teachers, read books that are heavily science driven. And so therefore I get even better at science. This is the genes propelling you to actively seek out environment that elicit more and more of that trait so that you become more and more scientific. So that's that part as well. And then there's also something called like a passive gene environment correlation. So let's say that you don't only just get genes from your parents, but you also get the nurture from them, right? So it kind of comes in as a combo pack. So there's a lot of situations where the gene actually impacts the environment that you are in as well. Or there's another form of gene environment interaction, which is passive. Let's say that I was born a child that just, is very naughty or very recalcitrant or gets angry easily. Then a lot of times I would annoy the teachers and then the teachers would then, not like me very much, which they will punish me. So that would just kind of, the interaction makes me more and more recalcitrant, and maybe I'll end up in juvie. So there's a lot of this, genes set you up to be around a certain environment. So what I'm trying to say is essentially, a lot of times we say, oh, this parent, they chose to harm us. They chose to pick us as a victim and etc. It seems very personal and very targeted, but it may be less personal and less targeted than you think. Because you can imagine that a robot, a really terrible, horrible, abusive robot, it might have two instructions. One is, if I see a person that's more powerful than me, I will kowtow, I will be really nice. Instruction number 2 is, if I see somebody who is more powerless, maybe a child, maybe a weaker individual, I can do whatever I want with them, right? This is just a robot and it's completely programmed. Who knows? Your parents might be one of those robots. I'm not saying that it is the case, but if you think about the rabid dog case, I tend to like to think, okay, maybe this person is more like a rabid dog than I prefer to think. If I consider the dog as the dog chose to bite me, then I would get very angry. But if I think about the dog as it's really sick, it's very deranged, I don't want to be around this dog, but it didn't deliberately do it, it can't help itself because it's a hurt dog, then I feel less angry. So it's a form of cognitive reframing or cognitive restructuring. It's a different way of seeing something, right? Obviously, we don't know exactly what's going on, but how you think has a dramatic effect on how you feel. And the important thing is, I want you to feel good. I don't want anger, resentment, hatred to eat up your body because it could really, really hurt you. Now, the last thing that's super important is I want you to know that healing is not once and done. I know that in today's society, a lot of people are like, where's the silver bullet? Where's the pill, etc. There is no silver bullet and there is no pill. And anybody that tries to sell you that, they're lying. They want your money and they are lying. I'm a survivor and I heal myself and I'm still healing myself. It is an ongoing journey. If you look at a person who is very physically fit, who maybe looks younger than their age, etc., who has great biomarkers, this is not a person who went to a boot camp for one day or ate lots of fruits and vegetables for one day and they are just amazing for the rest of their life, right? If you're thinking that you could cure your PTSD in one day, that's the equivalent level of thinking. It's magical thinking and it's not going to happen. If it took a long time for you to get complex PTSD, for you to suffer the consequences of trauma, it will take a while. And it's not time that will heal you. It is time plus effort. So it's not that one meditation, it's not that one journaling, it's not that one walk or that one therapy sessions. It's many, many, many of them done consistently over time that you are going to see the change. In the beginning, the changes are imperceptible, but over time it's cumulative. And the best part of it is it will get easier and easier because as your brain heals, as your body heals, you're in a better position to further heal yourself. So it's actually a positive feedback loop. But on the other side, the start is always the hardest. And I think that's why a lot of people give up early. So I'm into plants, as some of you know, and I want to show you, this is a rehab plant, which means that I started this plant. It was near dying because somebody almost killed it. They were going to trash it. And I told them, please don't trash it. I'm going to try to rehab it, meaning that I'm going to try to revive this thing. And in about 6 months, it started to grow new leaves. These are all great signs, right? This is a Monstera deliciosa, a pretty cool plant, but you can see it comes back. And I think it will probably take a year or two before it will look like a normal plant. So it will take time. And I have to consistently give it nutrition, light, water, etc. And human bodies are like this too, and human brains are like this. It takes time to heal, and you have to be consistent. There is nothing called once and done, but the good news is it does get easier. So I hope you find today's content helpful, and I would love to know if there are any kind of mindset that you felt kept you stuck for a long time, or any mindset that once you had, it gave you a tremendous breakthrough, because this channel is all about learning and sharing. And every one of these tips here, I personally got stuck at. Like, I thought there was a silver bullet. I thought my parents can help me, and I thought I should hold on to anger towards my parents because they deserve it, right? So all of these things that I'm sharing with you, I personally experienced. I hope you find the content helpful, and as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.